Hello, my squishies. It is Friday night. It is 6 o'clock, so it is felting time. So, for those of you joining after the fact, we record these live. So, I'm going to give people a couple of seconds just to get in and say hello. We've also got a Peanut with us today. So, if you hear squeaks and woofs, the shop dog Peanut is at my feet, and we're both very soggy today because it's been raining. But while we're waiting on people coming in, oh, I know. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna ramble nonsense. Is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to give a brief introduction to needle felting, and then hopefully we're going to needle felt this coaster today. And that is very unhappy Peanut noises. Hello, and my sound is fine. Excellent. Can you hear Peanut complaining in the background? Oh, I know. Good girl. I might have to mute myself if she starts barking. Hold on 1 second. Oh, we have a soggy Peanut on me now. You might see her nose popping in. Okay, so basics of needle felting. In your kits normally, I don't know if this is going to be... Yes, nonsense. I do apologise. So... the nonsense is real. So we do these streams live, as I've said. And if you want to see who I'm responding to, you can hit live chat replay and see who I'm talking to and the nonsense that we're getting up to. But you are more than welcome to mute me, to rewind, fast forward, pause if I'm going too fast. I'm not offended at all. So if you don't want to hear the nonsense and you just want to see some needle felting, you can mute me like my wonderful parents. Hi, Mum and Dad, love you. Yeah, so that's introduction to the video. Felting, so in your kit normally, although these are not technically going to be a kit, this is just a little bit of fun tonight. Oh, and there's a Peanut. You've got a foam mat, so we're going to felt onto this foam mat. This protects your surfaces and makes needle felting easier. We've got our fibre, so this is Shetland pre-felt. It is wool that's come off the sheep, been washed, and then formed into a loose fabric, but it's not very tightly held together. So as we're felting, it's going to felt closer together. Hello, everybody. Yay! Oh, I've got some nice comments already. But especially in this circumstance, you can felt onto a lot of different materials. So you can felt onto regular craft felt. If you've got an old jumper that you've accidentally washed too much in the washing machine, you can chop that up and felt onto that. Certain kinds of cotton you can felt onto. So you don't have to have this pre-felt. Any kind of material, if you try sort of stabbing, the needle easily goes through, you're generally should be okay to felt onto. We've also got... Peanut keeps nosing me. She's definitely needing attention today. We've also got our felting needles. So these are very sharp, hopefully you can see it, barbed needles. We've got a hook on one end, and this end's got little barbs. Do not stab yourself. These needles can break. If they do break, find all of the pieces and dispose of them safely. It's a really good idea to count in and out your needles at the beginning and end of each session so that you haven't lost any anywhere. In some of the kits, we also have a needle holder. So this makes it a little bit easier to grip the needle. You can get these that hold 1, 3, I think up to 12. But I'll show you how to use this one. So there's a little peg in one end. Pull out the peg, pop the needle in the groove with the hook over the thinner end, and then pop that thinner end back in there, and then you're ready to felt. But I'll show you that one more time. So you pull out the wee peg, pop the needle in the groove, Peanut wants this, and then put the thinner end back into that. There we go. But I don't use these because I tend to go between 1, 2 and 3 needles and I just grab them. Also, you will need, for this one specifically, a pair of scissors. you will need a load of ends of yarn and some roving. Although this isn't strictly necessary, it helps a lot with the process. So with the roving, there's a few tricks to it. So this has come off the sheep. It's been washed, brushed, dyed, and then loosely formed into rope. To work with this, you want to have your hands nice and far apart, and you can pull out little sections like that. You don't need to cut it. And this section here, you can see that's the length of the hair that was on the sheep. So if you have your where are you off to, young lady? If you have your hands too close together, you're going to be pulling against the ends of the individual hair and it's not going to work. And if there's any twist in it, it's also not going to come apart, because twist is what makes yarn strong. And this is the precursor to yarn, essentially. So hands nice and far apart, and you can pull out little sections. Okay, I think that's everything we need to know. Except for the stabby bit, but that will come now. So the other day was in work and was like, what am I going to do this weekend? And I tried to do a Celtic knot for this week, and it did not work out. It was horrendous. Do not recommend. Instead, I decided to take my yarn for a walk and just colour in the sections like when I was a child and you used to take your pen for a walk and then colour in all the bits. And I cannot tell you how much fun it was just going randomly, picking colours from my scrap yarn and making this weird thing. I don't know what it is. It's a thing. Possibly a coaster, who knows. And today I did one that's more landscapey. And I think this is definitely a coaster. Or possibly a patch to go onto a bag, something like that. I've also started one just now that is, it doesn't look like much, but it's going to be a sheep. So I'm going to do like its head and some little legs once I've done that. It's going to be rainbow, a rainbow sheep. So super easy, super fun. We're just going to have a giggle tonight. Take the yarn for a walk and colour in the dots, essentially. Ooh, like an yes. I think so. I think this is a toe, but also we've seen faces in it. We've seen various things in it. But yeah, it's going to be really good fun. So tonight we're going to do this one. We're going to do an easy landscape. So before I put any of the yarn on, I'm going to do a base. Just a quick base of the colours for that area. Doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, that's way too much. Just so that if there's any wee gaps where the yarn's not entirely covered, it looks green or it looks blue. If you're doing a different colour, so if you're doing all blue, I used all blue for this one. If you're going to do it all purple, yeah, I think it's like stained glass. I would use a purple base. If your felt is already the colour of what you want to do, then you're winning. But I'm going to lay this down, so just quite lightly cover up the sort of area or size I'm going to do, and then I'm going to grab 3 needles and do a quick stab all over. Let's get rid of that. So when I'm stabbing, I'm just going straight in and out. I'm not bending the needle at all. And then making sure I go right the way through the fabric. And as you're poking that in, you'll see it goes through to the other side. Oh, Peanut wants off. And that is what's felting. So just really loosely just now. Oh, Peanut, good girl. Come here. Stab that in place. Oh, 1 second. I have re-wrangled the soggy Peanut. She's back on my lap. There we go. So we're just going to gently felt this in. I wouldn't worry too much about felting it in too much because we are going to be felting on top of it. So don't worry. And it's really good practice every so often to take the felt off of the mat. You can see on the back it is felting through. Hello, Peanut. Are you wanting to be on the counter? There you go. Good girl. We now have a desk dog beside me. Okay, now it's time. Oh, I can see a wee gap in there. To take some yarn for a walk. Okay, now this is entirely your project and your fun. Carla, you can use, so I'm using wool because everything I have is wool, but you can, in theory, use acrylics as well. Peanut's just getting into shot. Yeah, you could use any kind of yarn, as long as there are fibres that you can stab in. I don't know what's going on here tonight. Tonight is just a fun stream. Nothing serious is going to go on. Yeah, so I would try it with acrylics and see if it works. I don't see why it shouldn't work. There we go. Good girl. Where was I? Just getting very distracted by a peanut. So on these two, one's got smaller sections and one's got bigger sections. So depending on what you want to do, you can do bigger or smaller. Smaller will be more work, but look kind of cool. Bigger, I think this has a really nice effect. So I'm going to go bigger again because I'm going to try and make another one of these. Lie down. Oh. So the way I do it is start the yarn somewhere and then just kind of let it wiggle. So I'm really gently and not very firmly. Can you see what I'm doing? There we go. Just wiggling around, and don't worry if it goes random ways. I want to make kind of the size of my thumb or finger for these. And also, if you suddenly decide you don't want to go any further that way, you can just chop it and start in another place. I'm going to go up this way now. I've also, ooh, that's a good point. Yeah, there we go. Acrylic yarn definitely works. These, I don't know if you can see the white lines. Are they going to focus? I've double lined them and it looks really cool, I think. So I'm going to do one line, fill it in with the colour, and then we go over again to sort of clean up that line. So again, I'm just making loops and going in random directions. Does not have to be perfect, and there is scope to wiggle it afterwards as well. This yarn is still attached to the ball as well, but you can just use scraps. I was thinking earlier as well, in one I want to do it where the sky, I use blue yarn for the outline for the sky, green yarn for the outline for the base. I think that'd be really fun. I'm trying to make sure, so the one thing I'm trying to make sure is that the outline is fairly circular and there's not too many jaggedy edges. But that's purely personal preference. I'm not saying you have to. You can have jaggedy edges if you want to. This is your random taking the yarn for a walk. I'm not even stabbing the yarn. There we go. This is a 4-ply yarn that I'm using, or a fingering weight for the outline. But again, you can use any yarn that you have on hand and it'll all be different effects. don't worry. No, I'm going to let that just cross over like that. And then have a blob in the center. Okay, how are we for size? Could be a little bit bigger, and I think I want a little bit more green. Oh my! Okay, I'm going to be 1 second because Peanut has got the whole box of scrap yarn and it is now all over the floor. Where'd she go? I wondered why she was being so quiet and good. So I'm going to add a little bit more around the bottom because I think I want a little bit more green. So again, I can just pull it up, start it off wherever. Let's start it coming out there. And again, I'm gonna cut. I now have a very angry Peanut because I took away her toys. And then again, I'm just gonna start. So I've given her a toy, so she should, in theory. I might leave that as one whole lump. There we go, perfect. Okay, so this is still very loosely felted on. It's not fixed in particularly well. You can still pick it up and move it if you want to shift any of them around. And as you're felting, it'll shift around as well. So don't worry. I think one thing I want to do, I might actually, yeah, I'm going to make that a hill. I have a nonsense maker tonight, and for once it's not Robin. It's definitely a Peanut. Okay, ready to start laying down our yarn. So I'm going to, I've got, as you saw, this massive pile of scrap yarns. I've got folders, they're all divided into colours. I'm not obsessive at all. And just going to grab whichever one. And there's a few different ways you can lay it down. So depending on what effect you're wanting. So you can start from the outside and do a sort of spiral. You could just go straight back and forward. I think for the grasses, I'm going to just go back and forward. And again, I'm just filling in. Because then it's going to look kind of like fields almost. Peanut does not like the filing cabinet apparently tonight. I will have a puppy sitter again for next time, but not tonight. And then I'm going to grab another green. And this is a great way to use up all your just scrap bits of yarn. I'm going to make this big one this green. And this is all you do. Just fill it in. And then once I've got all the colours in where I want them, I'm going to spend like half an hour maybe. Just stabbing all over until it is, I'm going to use that word again, until it's correctly felted in. Although technically there is no correct or wrong way. So it can be as felted or as non-felted as you want. which is not a useful description. So if say this is going to be a coaster, I would spend a lot of time felting it in because it's going to be high use and I want it to be nice and secure. But say you're making a picture out of this that's going to be behind Peanut, good girl, behind glass, then you don't need to felt it in very much because no one's going to touch it. So depending on what effect you're going for. She keeps scratching at the filing cabinet and then poking her head around and looking at me as if to say, uh-huh, what are you gonna do? Oh, what was the prank? What colour is next? Will I use this green? Nope. Let's go with this green. Oh, no, this green. And I feel like just going round and round for this one. As I'm going over each little area, I'm also tacking down a little bit harder the white and giving it a little extra few wee taps with the needle to make sure it's in place. Oh, I like that wee spiral one in the centre. That's fun. See, this is just mindless therapy. It's wonderful. And there is literally no right and wrong. Yes! Bigfoot! Amazing! Oh, is it... Wait, is a video on your channel? Oh, yes! So, we need to mention, although I also have a confession to make, Robin, Chief Nonsense Maker, also has a needle felting channel, and she does wonderful things. And she's just put out a new video, which I have I want to sit down and really enjoy it, so I haven't watched it yet, but I will. I promise. It's amazing. It's mushrooms. It looks spectacular. I'm a terrible person. Yep, I'm very excited to watch it. So Robin, drop a comment with your channel, please. She does amazing 3D ones. The Highland Cow is by far my favourite. Going that green? Don't know if I'm not feeling that green for this one. What other greens have we got? Oh, have we got this one? No, we haven't. Hello Ruth, how's it going? Are you back from your hollybobs? Ruth has also done some amazing felting. And she's posted it in our Facebook group for this felt along. So there is a Facebook group. The link should be in the description below if you want to see any of the previous ones or what people have done. Have a wee look-see in there. I'm going to do a dark area here, like a little bit of forest. There's not much instruction going on in today's one, just me stabbing. How was Orkney? And also, is it raining where you are? We got completely soaked on our walk just before this. Peanut is still very soggy, which is probably why she's annoyed. For those of you just joining us, we are just taking the yarn for a walk tonight. This is a really simple technique, but there is so much you can do to play around with it. So you can do any kind, you could do like faces, animals, anything. Today we're doing a sort of landscapey thing to make a coaster in the end. I'm going to do a really bright yellow there. Well, yellowy green. Let's see what we've got in the box of goodies. We done this one? That's not yellow enough. Yellowy blue. Oh, there we go. Don't worry, all these wee bits will get used in other projects. That's fun. They all go into the box of joy. It's surprising how useful. So it's technically not a proper term, but I call like this stuff yarn. Oh, hello. Yarn coleslaw. She's lost her treat. Yeah, I call this yarn coleslaw because when it's like the leftovers of sewing or fabric, it's called cabbage, and I think this is a little bit smaller than cabbage, and so is therefore coleslaw. Fight me. Okay, just a couple more and then we're good for the ground. Oh yeah, it felt like today was a heat wave here. It was absolutely roasting this morning until it rained. And now, ooh, knitter's candy. Yes, that's a great description of it. Because there's just so many I can't get rid of any scraps because there's so many things you can do, and if in doubt, the worst you can do is use it for stuffing toys. But I have kept it specifically to felt with at the moment because I want to use it as like inclusions in bigger pieces. And also, every time you go through your box of scraps, it kind of reminds you of all the projects you've done, and I'm like, oh, I remember doing this. And it's really fun. I like it. Peanut. Good girl. How loud is the filing cabinet scratching? Questions. More of this one. I'm doing something slightly green. No, I'm going to do this one. That should fill in that wee section nicely. I'm going to make these two hills as well, I think, because I like the roundedness of the top of them. So even though it's in the blue area, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to go over them with green. It's not the end of the world. If I was really particular, which I'm not going to, I could pick up and then move the blue from underneath, but I don't care that much. I'm just going to make sure when I do these bits, it is thoroughly covered in the green yarn. can see it starting to come together. It looks really fun. Do I? No, I'm going to do that all blue. I like these lumpy hills. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So we're going to swap to blue. Again, I'm going to take a handful of my blue hens. Can you tell I knit a lot? Pop them in there, and then now we're going to go blue. Ooh, yep, tell spooky stories. Yes, Peanut. Hello. Oh, and in the sky, if you want to, you can also make some of the circles clouds. So you can do them in white. Good girl. There's a grumbling. Next time, my regularly scheduled babysitter or peanut sitter should be back in action. Now I know this looks a bit silly because you can barely see it, because this is some yarn that I spun from this roving, so it is basically the same colour. It's fine. You can still see the texture of the yarn, which is what makes it really fun. I'm going to aim to put the darker blues higher up and the lighter blues closer to the bottom, so that it gives a kind, like only vaguely, but it gives a kind of impression of the sky getting darker as we're going up. You're going to come back in my lap? You're going to make me soggy? She says, nope, I'm running away. You can't make me. Oh, it was definitely the fairies. And what blue? So many blues. Let's do... Leave it. Don't worry. In the edit, we will take out the peanut barks. Good girl. Ooh, that's a nice one. I'm getting told off. It's a thing. I apologise if anybody's wearing headphones. There we go. We're getting there halfway through time, and it's starting to look almost there. Right, do I have a nice light blue that I'm looking for the bottom? A speckledy one. Oh no, there we go. That's a nice light one for the bottom one. So if you were to say do a range of coasters, of 6 coasters, like I'm doing with this, you can use sort of similar ones. So I've copied a few colours there, but they can also be, you don't have to worry about getting the same colours in each one. Let them be ever so slightly different. Although I am going to make sure there's another one of that in it. Very good, but Peanut, good girl. What are you barking at? You barking at the ghosties? Good girl. She comes and looks incredibly cutely at me. That's it. This dog gets away with everything. Because as soon as you see her face, it is ridiculous. I keep thinking that I've muted myself and I've just been talking to myself the whole time. Like, nope, there are still people here. So I am trying not to put the same coloured yarn next to itself, but you don't have to if you don't want to. If you want the same coloured yarn next to itself, it actually looks kind of cool because it kind of spans 2 sections. What am I going to do? I'm going to just edit this a little bit there so that that goes down. This is this is mindless. I love it. You cannot go wrong. Well, you can, but it's hard. Peanut, what are you barking at? I think it's the noises from downstairs. Well, that's nice blue there. So sometimes there are knots in it. So these ones that have knots are generally from, this is a terrible thing, when yarn is in a hank or a skein, it is knotted in a few places and then you unwind it to make it into a ball. And I just chop those wee little things off because they're not generally attached to... Haha, they're not, I will get through this stream. They're not generally attached to the actual yarn itself. So I just chop them off. And when I'm doing balling up hanks in the shop for customers, which is something I'm happy to do if you've bought a hank off me, I've got it all set up on the counter, I can ball it up for you. I keep the little ties and put them in my little boxes. So I've got colours I haven't even knitted with. I've not stolen off customers. If you want your little ties, you can take your little ties. But if not, I'll have them and put them in my box of scrappies. Okay, right, I need another blue. Gonna go look in the box of joy. Dark or light? Is that too dark? That's too dark for this project. Oh, there's one that I've not used yet. It's got a little tie attached to it, so I'm just going to untie that. Ooh, alpaca hair is a thing. Are you going to felt with it or are you going to spin with it? Alpaca is gorgeous. I got some new alpaca in the shop last week from a farm just south of Oban, and it's their own alpaca. It is the softest, most wonderful squishy wool, and it just makes, I actually put it on the counter so that I can squish it whenever I want to. Is this too light? I think it might be. They've also got mohair, so now I've got a beautiful British mohair in the shop as well. Am I allowed to do another blue? That is the question. Yeah, I'm debating whether pre-recording might be the... No, I love doing these live streams. They make me very happy, and they make sure I do them, because if I was trying to pre-record, I would never actually do it. I would just get distracted. I have in fact got one video that I pre-recorded to put up of a crochet project, and I recorded it maybe 2 months ago, and it's not gone up yet. Okay, I have 3. I'm getting really indecisive now. I've got 3 more holes to fill. You can go, you're too close to you. Yeah, I'm going to let you be in twice. Am I? That's the question. Ooh, this one. Might get rid of you. And I've only got 2 holes to fill. Haha! Cunning plan. Yes. It's called a drop spindle for a reason, because you drop it. Although when I teach people in the shop, I do the park method, because it gives them the time to not panic. There we go. Okay, one more, and then we are good. Ha, you, perfect. And then now I'm going to stab, stab, stab all over for a good few minutes. And now, it's not going to be finished tonight, because this is going to be a coaster, so it's going to be high use. So I'm going to do a lot of stabbing to make sure it is... Oh, before I start stabbing, let's pull off this mat, put away all my mess. Let's keep things reasonably tidy. Pull these back into shot so you can see what we're doing. And then stab, stab, stab. just going to stab, stab, stab all over. So you can see at the moment how lightly it's felted through, but on the finished one, so compare how much colour is on the back to how much colour is there. That's what we're aiming for. And it's just a case of stabbing all over, to be honest. Then once it's relatively stabbed in and you're relatively happy with how it is, we can go around again with another white. Also going to check. Yeah, that outline's pretty similar. That's making me very happy. But yeah, I would love to see if any of you guys do posters or even just taking the yarn for a walk in the Facebook group. That would be spectacular. I also kind of like it when it's like this and there's like this bit that's in focus and then all the blurry background, but for coasters we need to. And as you're doing this, remember to pull it off of the mat every so often. And play around with using different colours, yarns for the outline. Oh, that's so cute, Robin. Yes. And it's such a nice gift as well to be like, here is something you can treasure forever. Question is, how long do I just stab tonight? Because I'm not going to chop this off tonight, because I'm not going to have it as well felted as I would like. There's a wee gap there starting to form. So as gaps form as you're felting it in, you know what you can do? Take a bit more yarn and just fill it in. Oh, I should also mention, these sections don't have to be one colour. You could have it fading from one colour to another. You can do like concentric circles. So yeah, just keep stabbing until it's starting to feel nicely firm, if that makes sense. And you see even more is coming through the back every single time. We haven't had a lightning storm here in ages. This one is missing lots. I'm going to... Oh, nope, not that colour. Fill in the wee gaps here. Oh, my stomach's about to rumble. I think it's almost dinner time. It's almost dinner time. That reminds me. What's everybody having for dinner? The question of the night. And if you're looking at it and there's a bit that you're not sure about, even especially at this stage, you can pull it off and move it and do something else. So I'm looking at this. I'm not sure if that's maybe too much. the dark blue now that I've put a little bit extra in. It looks a little bit like a tornado. No, I'm going to leave it. I could pull it off and move it, but I'm not going to. But I think that might be enough stabbing for the night. I'm going to come back in a day or two. So if I was doing a full set of these, at this sort of midway stage, I would stop stabbing it and come back in a day or two and then do like a 10-minute all over to get it nice and locked in, and then just cut out the outline. Where was I going with this? But yeah, if I was doing a set, I would start the next one now and get them all halfway done, then come back in a couple of days and finish them all off. Because you'll come back in a couple of days and go, oh my god, that's so much, that's so amazing, I love it so much. Whereas now my eyes are starting to get a little bit tired, my hands are starting to get a little bit tired. I'm not getting that dopamine hit. So I would start another one just now and do a few more, then come back and finish it off in a couple of days. Peanut is now burying into her bed. I think I also need to take a Peanut home. She has had quite enough of my nonsense tonight. There we go. That's starting to, I can start to feel that firming up now. The back's starting to look almost as felted. And yeah, I'm going to sneeze. I sneezed. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It has been brilliant fun. I really, really want to see what you guys do with this technique. So please, please, please put it in the Facebook group if you do it. It is so fun, so easy, nice and abstract. And what you can do with it. So it doesn't have to be coasters. It could be anything. But thank you. Right, let's make it all nice and pretty. Thank you for joining me, my squishies. Thank you, Ruth. I will see you in 2 weeks. If you have anything you want to see, please let me know. But I will post a finished sheep and the finished set of coasters in the Facebook group. Remember, like, comment and subscribe. And thank you for joining me. Thank you, my squishies.